Hello. Hello. It's day 54. How are we doing today? Because I'm going to tell you how I've been doing. So much has been happening lately, but I feel like I'm on the right track. So, where to start? I've been living like I'm in the early 2000s. I walk out my house with no phone in hand and an MP3 player in my pocket, and the world around me is just ready for me to start my day. With my phone having no data, I had to get old school with it and also write directions down on a piece of paper. And just be locked in to the motherfucking max when I'm driving. But honestly, the time away from my phone has provided such a reflection that I'm really grateful for it. Loneliness was the metric I lived by for so long, and it pushed me into thinking that I had to do everything alone. But this also revealed the assumptions that I inevitably ended up making living like this. And that was that I assumed that everybody would leave me. You know, and I didn't even notice. I was kind of dark in here today. I didn't turn on the other light. Oopsies. But yeah, I didn't even recognize like how deeply cemented into my psyche that this idea of everybody's gonna leave anyway really like stuck into me. Excuse me, sorry. But like, you know, being hyper connected on the internet, I feel like gives us. So I ain't gonna lie, I don't remember exactly what I was talking about, but because I just to do something. But where I think I was at is my deep connection and like false sense of security that I feel like I built through the internet actually did not help me in any manner when it came to actually recognizing the spaces that I lived in. I feel like when I put so much effort in communication through digital spaces, it opens me up for a level of isolation that cannot be understood unless you experience it. And I think a lot of us are really feeling it with the hyper loneliness that we are feeling on a generational level, right? And I really think it's just because digital communication allows for a different expectation of what does it mean to be cared for? What does it mean and feel like to be heard? What does connection really look like when we are operating through these digital spaces? It's not something that's meant for us. That's the issue. Sorry, I'm not even going to answer the question. It's not meant for us. That is the issue, right? When I have not had my phone, I have been forced to recognize not only is the loneliness that I once thought I really had and felt so deep inside my heart, not as deep as I really thought it was anymore. It's everything actually for me isn't as bad as I really thought it was. The internet exacerbated these issues, but you know what that also came with? A type of unawareness that people can capitalize on. And that's how we got into this very ignorant society. And blah, 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 blah. So, because I haven't had my phone, I was really able to recognize I have friends that value and care about me. I have family members that value, care about me, and spend time with me in a manner that actually like sows confidence in the support that I'm receiving, right? This isn't about monetary support. This is about human connection. And overall, I've realized that the work that I do to improve my circumstance not only does it have to be done alone, it's what I've identified as my loneliness for a very long time stemmed from the fact that I wanted to be understood on such a visceral level that just nobody could do it, right? But it's not that specifically, right? Because I want to be understood, but it's the fact that when I was putting myself out on the internet initially, I was yearning to understand myself above all else. And I sought my understanding through the connections I made with other people on the internet. So these intangible connections of empty words that I attach value to were something that I tried to fill the void of in my heart. And even if the love that I was feeling and receiving was real, I could never know it because at the end of the day, I still didn't love myself. But this time away from my phone, the reflection that I was able to really participate in really let me shine in recognizing like how I do love myself, how I do care about the things that I've done, the things that I've cultivated, the work that I put in to really try and craft something that I'm proud of. And that took a lot of time. And it's hard to deal with and hard to fully put ourselves into because it takes time. You know, I'm about to get emotional, or not emotional, just intimate. Something that I've realized that I've forgotten was this summer was supposed to be my celibacy summer. I forgot. But even though I forgot, I still did it. Yeah, because everything just turned out to put me in a position that would be happening anyway. But like something that I was really, 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 really struggling with was sexual validation, right? And you know, I feel like it's hard to do that alone. But the reason that I feel like that it's hard to do that alone is because I feel like I've attached sexual validation with sexual pleasure when those two things aren't the same. You know? And that's why I feel like it was so easy for me to capitulate to my lust and like download Hinge and all that. And like, you know, Hinge was cool. I was talking to a lot of cool people, but I realized like it's too easy. And like, honestly, I don't think that's for me. There's no like nothing against anybody that's on there. Everybody that I talk to is really cool, but literally, it's just like, you know, I want I want my sexuality to be all encompassing, and I feel like when I'm participating in Hinge, that funnels my expression into a certain facet. I don't like that. So how am I gonna do it? And it's simple. I'm gonna live. And like the celibacy that I was supposed to be participating or am participating in, I didn't have sex this summer, guys. But the celibacy that I'm participating in, it is supposed to be like offering this great amount of reflection, and it is. But literally, it's just like, I feel like I come to overcomplicate my sexuality and sex and everything, just because like it's that want for tangibility to it, and it's just like it's just another part of my expression. It's another part of my art. There's no need for this extra shit to it, bro. Just be, right? And like my phone, I feel like I'm sounding old, but like what I would view that the content that was presented to me through most social media apps would be something that I feel would try to instill these ideas and seeds of insecurity in my mind for the way that I present myself. You get me? I feel like the content that is pushed amongst us is something that's supposed to sow the seeds of insecurity through if you have a lack of sexual pleasure, right? And I'm talking about bodily sexual pleasure specifically. Cause like I am over the course of this series, something that I've come to recognize is I've started to conflate my sexuality and creativity as like something that's one and the same. So my creative pleasure is a sort of sexual pleasure in it is of itself, right? It's just being expressed through a different avenue. One is requiring my full body, another is just requiring a specific aspect of it. And I feel like the one that requires my full body actually means a lot more, Like, there's more value to that. There's something that feels more fulfilling about that. And that's not to say, like, don't have sex or anything, but, like, these are just observations that I've recognized from my own growth and after doing some reflection, Like, the expression that I can really put out means so much more. And, like, it goes back to what my uncle said a bit ago, where he's like, oh, just pour into yourself and, like, develop yourself, and everything you want will come to you. And I was really thinking, like, when you are fully living in the the truth of your expression, right, to its fullest extent, you don't know where your boat will take you on the river of life, and that's nerve-wracking, but it's exciting, right? But we all want comfort, and we all want to know what we'll expect. And I think that's where these strong capitulations to lust came from for me. I don't like waiting. I have patience. I just don't like waiting. Like, yeah, I can wait for a very, very long time, but like, I get excited, bruh. But like, for real. So it's like, will I doubt my own love? Will I doubt my self-love and capitulate? Or will I stay firm and what matters to me. And wait, I feel like I did say something very similar to this a while ago in another video, but like ultimately that's what it is. And I feel like that's what it is for everything, right? I waited so many years for just friends that would value me. I used to just jump on, I would get hooked onto people when like I could see that we would be friends, and I would just like pour myself out to them and like try to be the best friend as possible, even in like the infancy of the friendship, just because like I just wanted to connect with someone. And that opened me up for different levels of pain and hurt and disrespect, because even unknowingly, I was doubting my love. I didn't recognize how much I didn't like being with myself. Even with family, I want some relationships to be something entirely different. But I recognize that sometimes if I have to change how I express myself for a relationship to come to be, then that shit is not meant to happen. It's ultimately a test of your self-love. Every day is not only a test for your self-love, but a test for the life that you've built for yourself. You see the depths of love that you've reached within yourself, and you choose who is going to be able to experience this beside me and continue growing as an individual along with me, beside me. You get me? Like, and that's why these digital relationships are so dangerous as well. Because like, when you text someone, that's instant. It's like, it feels like you're almost mind reading. You get me? Oh, instant communication, instant. But the best communication isn't instant. The best growth doesn't happen immediately. And like, we all look down at these mirrors, and every interaction that we transpose onto it is not simply just like a reflection of where we are as an individual, but it's like when we talk through the internet, we talk with reflections of people, but never like the core of the individual. And like, that might not make any sense, because like, what? All I'm doing is talking to the individual. Like, I'm talking to that nigga right there. What? And you're gonna say I'm talking to the reflection? Yes, I am. Because when you talk to that person face to face, that's a different connection than through the phone, right? We are talking through a medium. And the art that can be portrayed has its limits. The communication has its limits. That's the issue. It has limits. And yes, even face to face has its limits, but not to the same degree. You get me? Face to face, that's life. Through the phone, that's fucking internet shit. It's life, but it's not living. So yeah, I time traveled, and then going back, but also going forward at the same time. Pretty cool, right? Okay, let's think of a title for this video. Let's say, I don't know. I'm not good at this at the spot, but okay. Got it. The title for this video will be